Well, I'm angry again. So, what's upsetting me this time? Well, you might have guessed. In the media, I read that the European Union's highest court, the European Court of Justice, last week on Thursday ruled that employers can ban workers from wearing religious symbols, including headscarves, in their workplaces. Now, this seems to have had little reaction from the American government, the British government, or anyone else. Turkey, however, has stepped up to the plate and has spoken out clearly and unambiguously condemning this. So, kudos to Turkey. Turkey's, according to The Guardian yesterday, Turkey's cabinet ministers have criticised a European Union's court decision to allow employers to ban headscarves from their workplaces, saying it is a blow to the rights of Muslim women and that it would grant legitimacy to racism. Of course it would. Of course it would. In response, a chap called Ibrahim Kalin, he's the spokesperson for Erdogan, the Turkish president, tweeted that the move would encourage Islamophobia. He wrote, "The decision by the European Court of Justice on headscarves in the workplace is another blow to the rights of Muslim women." He said it would play right into the hands of those warmongers against Islam in Europe, and asked, does the concept of religious freedom now exclude Muslims? Well, of course it does. This is a outrageous ruling, and it clearly violates the dignity and rights of Muslim women to wear a headscarf. And the idea that, as I've been told, oh, well, it applies to all people. Yeah, right, of course it does. As if there isn't an issue here to do with anti-Muslim prejudice. And Erdogan's communications director described the decision as unbelievable and an attempt to grant legitimacy to racism. Well, I'm not sure it's unbelievable. I think it's very sadly to be expected. And he continued, instead of denouncing its dark past, which Europe does with Jews, and rightly so, when it comes to Muslims, Europe now, he says, seeks to embrace it. We condemn this ruling, he said, which infringes on human dignity. Well, of course it does. Everyone should be angry about this. And then The Guardian, in the article which I'm reading from yesterday, helpfully tells us the ruling came after two separate cases were brought to German courts by Muslim women who were prevented from wearing their headscarves to work. Can you believe it? The first, a childcare worker, was suspended twice from her place of work and issued with a written warning for wearing a headscarf. I mean, losing her livelihood. The childcare centre had banned staff from wearing any religious symbols to work. Yeah. The second woman, a sales assistant at a chemist, was told not to wear any item of clothing which was considered a conscious political, philosophical or religious symbol. But the worker said that her head covering was mandatory for her religion and refused the chemist's ban. Now, this is right. The consensus of scholars, the ulama in Islam, it's very clear in the Quran, it's very clear in the authentic hadith, is that women must dress modestly and cover at least the everything apart from their face and their hands. Many scholars talk about covering the face too, but that's a separate issue. So Muslim women are obliged, because of their faith, to wear a headscarf. And of course, men too are also obliged to dress modestly. They're not supposed to go around wearing tight jeans and, showing bits and pieces. They're supposed to dress modestly too. So to actually tell a Muslim woman whose faith requires her to dress modestly that she should dress immodestly, to no one else's harm, wearing a hijab is completely harmless, is an outrage. Now, the European Court of Justice said employers need to show a genuine need for the ban, such as, wait for it, the legitimate wishes of the customers, including presenting a neutral image towards customers or to prevent social disputes. Now, what's missing from this is any consideration for the legitimate wishes of Muslims. I mean, I've looked this up. Apparently Muslims make up about 6 million people in Germany, so half of them are women. And in Europe as a whole, about 5%, more or less, of the population is Muslim. So, but their genuine need and their legitimate wishes to wear the hijab, which is, as I say, compulsory in Islam, are completely disregarded, ignored, are not taken into account at all, according to the ruling. Isn't that remarkable? They're deliberately ignored. Anyway, on Twitter, the European Network Against Racism said, and I think quite rightly, that the latest ruling would lead to, quote, justifying the exclusion of Muslim women who are increasingly portrayed as dangerous for Europe in the collective narrative, quote unquote. This is obviously an outrageous ruling. It goes against basic human dignity and the rights of human beings to dress modestly in a place of work. And it makes a mockery of Europe's boasting about diversity, inclusion, liberty. I'm in France. We boast about liberty, equality, fraternity. In France here, women cannot wear headscarves at universities, in schools, in nursery. You know, it makes a mockery of that. And this speaks to a civilizational conflict going back literally hundreds of years between the Islamic world and the West. But in our liberal, democratic, inclusive era, the same old taboos, prejudices, and discrimination are enshrined in law at the highest level. That's why I am angry. I hope you are too. Till next time.